What's up everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean O'Malley reacts to Joe Rogan's contract ending soon. Joe Rogan's contract with Spotify will be ending soon, leaving many fans wondering what the future has in store for the longtime UFC commentator. While his Joe Rogan Experience podcast seems poised to continue regardless of whether or not it remains on the Spotify platform, Rogan's contract ending has raised some serious discussions. During a recent episode of The Bro Malley Show, the bantamweight champ gave his thoughts on the situation.
Joe Rogan's contract with Spotify expires in 11 months. Very curious to see the market for him. The company's brave enough with enough money to make him an offer. Where does he go next? I mean, if he doesn't go to, those YouTube vids probably take down a lot of those episodes. If he expired and he went to YouTube.
With less than a year to go on Rogan's deal, only time will tell how his upcoming free agency decision plays out. Shout out to our first comments on yesterday's video. Thanks for the support. Next up, let's take a look at Justin Gaethje fighting winner of Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira. When Justin Gaethje defeated Dustin Poirier at UFC 291, he not only captured the UFC's BMF title, he also positioned himself to compete for the lightweight strap once more. With an upcoming lightweight title clash between Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira on tap for UFC 294, Ali Abdelaziz recently revealed to the Schmo that should Makhachev win, he will then defend the belt against Gaethje.
Inshallah, Islam win, and you fight Justin Gaethje next. This is what we want. That's what the UFC want. That's Justin Gaethje earned it too. You don't go out there and knock out Dustin Poirier like that, and you don't get a title shot. And I think Justin make a statement, and he earned his spot.
Of course, featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski has also expressed a desire to have a rematch with Makhachev. As Volkanovski looks to defend the 145-pound title against Ilia Topuria, the expectation is that, with a win, he'll then move up to 155 in pursuit of champ status. Depending on how things line up, it sounds as though Makhachev could defend the belt against Gaethje before then welcoming a rematch with Volkanovski, assuming he prevails against Oliveira and the highlight. Next up, let's take a look at Balal Muhammad wants Sean Strickland next? While the booking of a Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington fight at UFC 296 didn't come as a surprise, it did create quite a bit of controversy given the fact that Belal Muhammad, who many view as the division's true #1 contender, will have to wait for a crack at the winner. In the meantime, UFC President Dana White has stated that Muhammad actually has a fight on the horizon. During a recent interview with MMA Junkie, Muhammad gave his thoughts on the situation, revealing that he would even be open to fighting middleweight champion Sean Strickland.
I mean, we got our manager, we're throwing out stuff at them. Like, I'm willing to fight Sean Strickland at 185. I'm willing to go up there. That's a title fight. So, like, I had a guarantee for a title fight. Also, obviously, there's at 170, the only other person that doesn't have a fight is Usman. But when I'm looking at it, it really doesn't really make sense for me unless, like I said, unless I'm getting paid like a champion, because Usman, I think, is a harder matchup than Kobe or Leon, and it's like I'm not gonna get nothing for beating him. I'm not gonna get a belt for beating him. And
while the UFC is likely waiting to see how things play out between Khamzat Chimaev and Paulo Costa at UFC 294 before booking Strickland's first title defense, it sounds as though a fight with Muhammad isn't in the UFC's current plans. Between a rematch with Israel Adesanya and a title defense against the winner of the Chimaev-Costa fight or Dricus du Plessis, there's no room for Muhammad to cut the line at 185 pounds. If he doesn't wind up accepting a fight in the meantime, expect Muhammad to compete against the winner of the Edwards-Covington fight next year. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Beneil Dariush reacts to UFC rumors. Although nothing has been finalized, all signs are pointing to Beneil Dariush and Arman Tsarukyan competing in a highly anticipated lightweight showdown before the end of the year. While speaking in a recent interview with the Schmo, Dariush gave his thoughts on the fight, while explaining that although a bout between he and either Dustin Poirier or Michael Chandler would also make sense, with the two men both uninterested in a scrap, a fight between he and Tsarukyan makes the most sense.
Yeah, so I don't know about main event or exact date, but they've told me basically they're looking at December. They haven't given me specifics, but it could be main event. It could be. It could not. So details are not there yet. No contract, so that's why I don't really have the details. But honestly, I as long as I get to fight top contenders, I get to fight the best guys in the world, I'm not complaining.
After being knocked out by Charles Oliveira in a highly anticipated #1 contender fight earlier this year, Dariush is eager to begin his climb up the lightweight rankings once again. Next, let's take a look at UFC fight updates. 2 exciting fights have been added to the UFC schedule for the new year, starting with a clash between Marcus McGee and Gaston Bolaños, which will take place at UFC Vegas 83 on January 13th. The bout, which is a rebooking from August, will see McGee look to build on a 2-fight win streak since joining the UFC. On the flip side, Bolaños will be looking to build on a win in his UFC debut against Aaron Phillips back in April. Just 1 week later, on January 20th, TUF 27 and TUF 31 winner Brad Katona will take on Garrett Armfield at UFC 297 in Toronto. The bout will see Katona look to make a splash in his second stint with the promotion, after defeating Cody Gibson back in August in the TUF 31 bantamweight finale. On the flip side, Armfield will be looking to build on an August win, which marked his first under the UFC's promotional banner, following a loss to David Onama in his UFC debut back in the summer of 2022. With the UFC now booking fights for the new year, expect a number of exciting matchups to be announced in the weeks to come. Next, let's take a look at Merab Dvalishvili responds to Dana White. Merab Dvalishvili currently finds himself stuck between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, the expectation was that he would get a crack at the bantamweight title. However, with reports that Sugar Sean O'Malley could be fighting Chito Vera, the machine has been left wondering about his next fight. While speaking in a recent interview with Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour, Dvalishvili responded to the criticism he's received from Dana White and fans as he navigates the uncertain road ahead.
Yeah, I don't understand. Yes, exactly. I don't understand. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm a fighter, and what I know, I deserve to fight in front of guys who was in front of me, and I don't want to go backwards and fight somebody. And hey, man, my job is fight, and I'm ready for fight, and that's all I know. Yes. Sometimes I feel very stressed. I never been this. Yeah, it's hard, you know. Like I'm so close, and I've been training hard, and everything. I always was focused on like my next fight, and I was going step by step.
While speaking on a recent episode of The Bro Malley Show, the bantamweight champion reacted to recent comments indicating that Dvalishvili and Aljamain Sterling could be willing to fight one another if the price is right.
Who's why? I mean, I guess that would be more intriguing because they were friends.
Yeah, best friends.
But it's like the lead up, and it's just like no one really cares to see that fight either.
With plenty of uncertainty regarding the bantamweight title picture, only time will tell how things play out in arguably the most stacked division in the UFC. Let's take a look at Daniel Cormier's hopes for Fury versus Ngannou. Although former heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou remains a strong betting underdog leading up to his fight with Tyson Fury later this month, Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier wants to see the Predator make Fury pay for overlooking the bout and negotiating a scrap between he and Alexander Usyk. While speaking on a recent episode of DC and RC, Cormier gave his thoughts on the reports of the bout between Fury and Usyk.
It is the most disrespectful thing Tyson Fury could do. It is so disrespectful. Tyson Fury knows. It's kind of crazy, bro, because I hope Francis knocks his head off. I like Tyson Fury. I watched this show on Netflix and fell in love with the dude. I like Tyson Fury so much now. I love his personality. I love his family. But it is the most disrespectful thing that you could do. He scheduled a fight 2 months later, essentially saying...
With the fight rapidly approaching, Ngannou has made it clear that he's hoping to play spoiler to Fury's plan. Whether or not he's able to hand the heavyweight legend his first professional loss, of course, only time will tell. Khabib breaks silence on Islam Makhachev's steroid allegations. Earlier this week, Bobby Green called out both Khabib and Islam for cheating and said all Russian fighters use steroids.
I just be feeling like the Russians be cheating right now. For instance, Khabib and Islam, they go to a mosque, you know? They train in some place where you can't go to USADA, can't come in here. For months. They can do whatever they want to do. Actually, Islam got caught for drugs. You know what I mean? When he first came.
Khabib didn't like this statement and came out on Instagram to discuss it. He wrote, "There's nothing wrong with giving power to a champion, whether you like it or not, but it is not given to everyone. For this, you need brains and preferably not from straw. Islam Makhachev, you can't give them a break and tell him that I have about 300 amateur fights in different sports. Islam has been playing amateur sports also since 9 years old and has vast experience behind him. I'm not talking about experience in professionals anymore. Top comments. Colby complaining about anybody waiting too long to take a fight is just goddamn hilarious. It's funny listening to Colby talk about someone waiting on the sidelines. Self-awareness is not a strong point. No one should take Green seriously, lol. He's said some wild shit over the years. Islam didn't get caught. He had heart surgery and was recovering from that. So Green seriously thinks that all Muslims lock themselves up in a mosque for an entire Ramadan and even train there? And he, by the way, he was caught on drugs, also says that Islam failed drug test, even though that was him using prescription medications after a heart surgery. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.